You, in this meeting, just a high school grad and a former janitor, right? It's unbelievable that someone with such low education and bottom-tier background was headhunted by this company, and now you think you have a seat in this meeting. Plus, there's one seat short. Your attendance must be a mistake. Haha. At my new job, I attended a meeting. There, an elite manager named Jack, who was already present, scoffed at me with a snort. I never said I was your subordinate, and the reason one seat is missing is because you weren't invited to the meeting. It seemed he didn't know why I was there. I am Mike. I'm a 34-year-old who works at a local cleaning company. This job may not have a great reputation in the general public, but it's actually full of discoveries and very fulfilling. How can I clean more efficiently, and how can I make it cleaner? While thinking about it, I'm constantly experimenting and trying new things. In doing so, I've even modified cleaning tools and recently started DIY projects. I often find myself thinking, it would be nice if the detergent itself was like this, or if only there was an ingredient that could remove this kind of stain. However, the idea of actually experimenting is daunting, and I can't take responsibility for that, so I just jot down my ideas in a notebook. My cleaning service is well received by clients, and I often get specific requests for assignments. Being naturally neat and a bit of a storage fanatic, I enjoy my work, which has led me to work for various clients. I've been called to clean offices so pristine I wonder what's left to clean, into rooms that could almost be called hoarders' dens. I went wherever I'm called. In this way, I've handled many requests, eventually even earning a qualification as a professional organizer. Lately, my work has expanded beyond my regular clients to various companies, keeping me thankfully busy. Recently, I've received many requests from a manufacturing company called Anderson Industries, and the president of the company has been particularly supportive. Initially, it was business as usual, but after the president struck up a conversation with me one day, we've become familiar enough to chat whenever we meet. I usually visit Anderson Industries once a week, but there was a time I couldn't do so due to a prior commitment, and another employee went instead. Of course, the person who came in today worked really hard, and it's not that they did anything wrong, but I still prefer having you, Mike. I was told that after returning to the office, I felt bad for the employee who covered for me, so I decided to make it a rule to go there every Wednesday. Though I don't know what Mr. Anderson sees in me, he trusts me immensely, even having me clean his home every Saturday. I couldn't think of why he favored me so much, but I was happy just to be appreciated for my work. Then one day, the president of the cleaning company I currently work for suddenly passed away. While all of us employees were grieving, the president's son took over. However, this new president was a big spender, leading to misuse of funds, unnecessary expenses, and even problems with clients, endangering the company's very survival. At this rate, it's heading for bankruptcy. Rumors of bankruptcy started circulating, and many employees left. As employees increasingly left, we had to turn down works that we used to take on because we couldn't handle the orders anymore, and some clients drifted away as a result. I, too, had to consider my options. Still, I went to clean Mr. Anderson's house as usual. "What's wrong? You seem troubled." It seems Mr. Anderson heard my sigh, and he approached me to talk. "Oh, no, I'm sorry for being distracted during work. I'll finish up soon." "No, it's okay. I've always been grateful for your work, Mike. If you have a problem, feel free to talk about it. Maybe I can help." Mr. Anderson forcibly took my cleaning tools and made me sit in a chair in his office. Mr. Anderson himself prepared some coffee for me, and I took a sip. "So, it's unlike you to sigh like that. What's going on?" "Well, actually," prompted by him, I opened up about the current situation at my company and my concerns about the future. I thought Mr. Anderson would be troubled by such a consultation. Yet, once I started talking, I couldn't stop, and before I knew it, I kept talking and spilled out everything. However, Mr. Anderson just listened, nodding. "So, that's how it is. Thank you for continuing to come to my house despite such difficulties." He said this with a smile after I finished telling everything. "No, I'm grateful to you, Mr. Anderson, for always requesting me. I'll come no matter how busy I am." "That's good to hear. I've never seen anyone do cleaning work as happily as you, Mike, but at this rate, you might not be able to come to my house anymore." "You're right. If things continue this way, the company might indeed be in trouble. I guess I really need to consider switching to another cleaning company." As I was thinking this, Mr. Anderson suddenly made a proposal. "If it's okay with you, Mike." "Yes. How about working for us? That was my first experience of being headhunted." "I beg your pardon. Honestly, there's nothing I can do about your current company, but I'd hate to lose you." "Oh, if you switched to another company, it's not guaranteed you'd still come to us." "That's true. So, it seems faster to hire you directly." Mr. Anderson smiled warmly. I blinked several times, unable to believe what I was hearing. Headhunting a cleaner? I've never heard of such a thing. But looking into Mr. Anderson's eyes, I could tell he wasn't lying. Besides, he's not the kind of person to tell such lies. "How about starting as soon as tomorrow?" Mr. Anderson immediately called his secretary and announced that he was hiring me. The secretary glanced at me and agreed. It seemed that he was serious. Starting tomorrow is a bit sudden. I have other client requests to fulfill." "Haha, I guess I was too hasty. Sorry for rushing you." "No, it's fine. But I would prefer you start as soon as possible. Could you talk to your boss as soon as you get back today? Once things are settled, please contact me right away." He handed me a business card with his phone number written on it. "Are you really going to hire me? Of course, you know how much I value you. I want you to continue your work here." "Thank you." And so, my job switch was settled surprisingly smoothly. 2 weeks have passed after being headhunted by Mr. Anderson. I officially resigned from the cleaning company and joined Anderson Industries. Today is my first day at work. Feeling a bit nervous, I adjusted my collar, checking for dust and stains on the suit I was wearing. This suit was actually a hand-me-down from Mr. Anderson. Since I had joined a cleaning company immediately after high school graduation, I never had the occasion to wear a suit and only owned a recruitment suit. I was thinking that being 30 plus, wearing the recruitment suit is probably not a good idea. You probably haven't had many occasions to wear a suit before. Mr. Anderson said so. Grateful for the kindness of others, I patted my cheeks a few times to psych myself up. After entering the building, I asked the receptionist to inform Mr. Anderson of my arrival, and first went to greet him. "Oh, Mike, you're here. Good morning. I look forward to working with you." "Yes, I'm looking forward to it too. I have high expectations for you." "Thank you. I'll do my best." A secretary was assigned to show me around the office. Feeling humble, I visited each department to introduce myself. Everyone in each department knew that I had been coming and going as a janitor, and many had become familiar faces over time, so there was a welcoming atmosphere. Finally, I headed to my new department, the product planning department, and introduced myself to everyone. "Starting today, I'll be working with you. My name is Mike. Nice to meet you." Though nervous, I was relieved to be warmly received. Then, I noticed one empty seat. "Whose seat is that?" "Oh, that's Jack's seat. He's been in a meeting since this morning, and isn't here right now." "I see." Nodding at the words of the woman from the planning department, I suddenly remembered that I was also supposed to attend that meeting. I quickly checked the time and then hurriedly asked for and headed to the meeting room location. Fortunately, there was still a little time before the meeting started, and only one other man was present. This man was probably Jack. I needed to greet him properly. "Are you Jack? I believe. I apologize for the late introduction. I've been assigned to the product planning department starting today. My name is Mike, and weren't you just the bottom-rung janitor here until last week? What are you doing here?" Jack cut me off mid-sentence and confronted me. "Mr. Anderson instructed me to attend this meeting." "You, at this meeting? You're just a high school graduate and former janitor. How can a person with such low education be recruited by this company, let alone have a seat at this meeting? There's one less chair than needed, meaning there's no seat for you." As Jack aggressively confronted me, I scratched my head, wondering what to say. "Well, first of all, that seat is mine, so I'm definitely attending the meeting, Jack. I said I belong to the product planning department, but I didn't say I was your subordinate. And about this meeting, you don't need to attend, so the number of people is just right." "What? Not a subordinate? Impossible." As Jack said this, he looked at the nameplate on the seat I pointed to. What does this mean?" The nameplate read, "Product Planning Department Head, Mike." "Nothing much, just that I've been appointed as the head of the product planning department from today. Jack, you're my subordinate from now on." "This can't be happening," Jack shouted, throwing my nameplate to the floor. Just then, the door to the meeting room opened, and the executives gathered. "Hey there, Mike. It's your first day today, right? Looking forward to working with you." "Early start, huh? Everyone's got high hopes for you. Counting on you, buddy." As everyone greeted me warmly, they took their seats. Although Jack was breathing heavily with anger, the scene in front of him seemed so unbelievable that his expression gradually turned into one of utter confusion. In the midst of this, someone kindly picked up my name tag that was dropped on the floor. "Mr. Anderson, good day to you." It was Mr. Anderson. "Mike, any trouble here?" As he returned my name tag to my desk, he looked curiously between us. "No, nothing at all." "Is that so? By the way, why is Jack here?" Well, the workday should have started by now. We have a meeting soon, so you should head back to your department quickly." At Mr. Anderson's words, Jack grumbled something under his breath and left the meeting room, looking unsatisfied. "All right, everyone. I think you might already know, but I'd like to introduce our company's new member. As some of you may know, effective today, I've been assigned to the product planning department. My name's Mike. Pleased to meet you all." Following Mr. Anderson's introduction, I introduced myself and was met with warm applause from the executives. Mike here was in charge of our company's janitorial duties until recently. He's skilled and trustworthy. I wanted him to fully demonstrate the cleaning know-how and innovative ideas he has cultivated over time, so I selected him to head the product planning department, which was vacant. It was my own decision, but does anyone have any objection? Nobody raised any objections, and everyone welcomed me as their new department head. I learned that my predecessor was a woman. She had resigned due to childbirth, leaving the department head position vacant for a while. Normally, Jack, who was a manager, should have been promoted to department head, but his promotion was put on hold due to his overbearing attitude, which had been a growing concern within the department. After the previous department head left, Jack's behavior only escalated, and there were several complaints about him to the HR department. However, I wasn't originally meant to be a department head. I had heard from Mr. Anderson himself that he initially intended to employ me directly as a janitor for the company, which I had also assumed. When the idea of direct employment came up, he had asked to accommodate as many of my requests as possible, including janitorial equipment. I showed him the ideas and tools I had secretly developed and modified. Anderson Industries, a storage and household goods manufacturer, seemed like a place where I could bring to life the ideas I had written down, ideas I had always wanted to actualize. Realizing this was an opportunity I couldn't miss, I found myself passionately making my case. Mr. Anderson didn't criticize me but instead looked thoughtfully at my ideas and tools for a while. How about we make these together? He proposed this afterwards. Together? Actually, the head of our product planning department is currently vacant, and I'd like to recommend you. Department head, me. Jess, we've been wanting to expand our cleaning supplies, but we haven't had any great ideas. After hearing your pitch, I thought your ideas seemed practical and something I'd want to use. Mike, you plan it and we'll make it. Yes, I think you'd be suitable. What do you think? I'm honored just to be employed, let alone in such a position. It's too much for me. Haha, no need to take it so seriously. Even as a department head, you'll be planning with everyone in the department. I think you're up to the task, Mike. Plus, as the head of the planning department, you'll be the first to try out the prototypes of new cleaning products, won't you? New prototypes, of my own design, and being the first to test them. That was exactly what I wanted, and so I found myself nodding in agreement. Thus, as the new head of product planning, I attended my first meeting and seized the moment to share all my ideas for cleaning tools. I got so carried away with my enthusiastic speech that I thought I might have scared them off, but it seemed my passion got through, and the executives largely agreed with me. One of my ideas was even selected for development into a prototype, which left me unable to contain my excitement. Continuing as the department head, I proposed improvements for the cleaning tools currently in development and, leveraging my certification as a professional organizer, suggested improvements for health products, making every day at work enjoyable. Even as I progressed in my role, I requested to continue the weekly Wednesday office cleaning and Saturday cleaning at Mr. Anderson's house, under the pretext of testing prototypes. At first, Mr. Anderson was surprised by my request, but then he said this: "Your skills are reliable, and I trust you. It was the original plan, so it's a help if you can do it. Just make sure it doesn't interfere with your duties as department head." His approval only fueled my motivation. Eventually, I wanted to use the expertise I gained from the cleaning company and was in talks with the marketing department about promotions. Jack, who initially confronted me, eventually stopped after I continued to focus on my work, possibly having some realization. The interaction with Jack during that meeting was apparently witnessed by Mr. Anderson, and Jack received a stern warning from him afterward. Due to his past behavior and the complaints from his subordinates, Jack was demoted from manager to a supervisor position. This seemed to have a significant impact on him, and he became much quieter. Amidst all this, I finally had a chance to have an open and honest conversation with Jack. While we're at it, let me ask you, what was your dissatisfaction with me? Was it because of my low education, or because I was just a janitor who suddenly appeared out of nowhere? Well, yes, that's about it. At first, Jack hesitated to speak, but as I persistently questioned him, he began to share his thoughts bit by bit. Jack graduated from a prestigious university and was confident in his academic achievements. However, it turns out his preferred company was elsewhere, and he didn't secure a job offer there during his job hunt. Feeling confident about his educational background, he was deeply disappointed when his life didn't turn out to be the elite career he had envisioned. Despite being hired at this company, his enthusiasm eventually turned into resentment, thinking, "I can't end my career in a company like this." Even under the previous department head, I couldn't accept working under a woman. I looked down on her, thinking, how dare she, being a woman? I'd even resorted to harassing her behind her back. Is that so? After she left, I naturally thought I, as the manager, would be promoted, but then, to my dismay, someone with lower level of education became my boss. It felt so empty, wondering why someone who just showed up out of nowhere gets valued and becomes the head, while I get no recognition at all. That's probably why, right there. But even if you say that, Jack, looking down, seemed not to fully understand what he had done wrong. I may indeed have a lower level of education, and I understand how working in a cleaning company is perceived by society. I just liked the job of cleaning, not because I had any special confidence in myself. However, thoughts like I want to create this kind of product, It would be better if it was like this, or this might make it easier to use and lessen the burden. I believe I have more than anyone. I'm not creating these things just to be evaluated by a supervisor. I did the cleaning work originally because I liked it. The previous department head probably planned things from a woman's perspective, closely aligned with the consumers. That's why she became the department head. It's not about being a woman or a man. It's about being evaluated based on achievements, which you, Jack, should have known better. But what about you, Jack? Have you ever thought about the consumers? Have you considered this could make it better, or let's try this? Have you only been thinking about getting evaluated yourself and not empathizing with the consumer's feelings? That's maybe true. It's about that. The most important thing in the product planning department is probably that mindset. Maybe this department isn't the right fit for you. Maybe even this company. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. If you want to be valued, you need to find the right place for yourself. You won't get the appreciation you want if you don't stand in the right ring. Jack couldn't argue against my words and was at a loss for words. Look, you can't sell vegetables in a clothing store. It's the same as that. Even if you wait, you won't get the appreciation you want. If you want to be valued in the planning department, you need to change your mindset. I told Jack, hoping he would understand, but he left without responding, murmuring something to himself. A few days later, on Saturday, while I was cleaning Mr. Anderson's house, he approached me with a smile. "How can I help you?" I don't know what you said, but Jack went to HR the other day. He requested a department transfer. Jack did? Yes. He said he got advice from you. Advice? I just had an open talk with him, and he had a lot to think about. We just exchanged ideas. Is that so? Well, I'll hear about it later. As a result of the discussion, he's been transferred to the accounting department. The official notice will come out next week. Is that so? I was surprised that Jack took such action on his own. My words had gotten through to him. Thinking that, I felt a bit happy. He seems satisfied, but what do you think? Well, Jack may be harsh and overbearing, but he's meticulous, fast, and accurate in his work. He has a keen eye, so maybe accounting suits him better, at least better than the planning department. I couldn't help but laugh. I agree. Mr. Anderson laughed too. Just as Mr. Anderson said, an official notice was issued, and Jack was transferred. True to his nature, Jack's meticulous and anxious personality came to life in his new role. Some from other departments even complained that the accounting reviews had become somewhat stricter and more challenging. However, he seemed to be enjoying his work, exhibiting his skills. He was seemingly quite valued in the accounting department. He hadn't completely lost his overbearing nature, but it appeared he no longer got unreasonably angry or made sarcastic remarks. It was a relief to see that accounting, not the planning department, was a better fit for him. Finding the field that suits you is important, isn't it? Yes, it is. You seem to fit perfectly in your current role, and as the one who promoted you, I'm very proud. I'm just working hard, that's all. That's what makes it impressive. Well, I'm counting on you in the future, Mike. Yes, of course. I nodded to Mr. Anderson and then returned to the planning department. Okay, everyone, move to the conference room. The planning meeting starts in 5 minutes. I want to continue coming up with plans that will be helpful to someone through this company. I felt strongly about